Let's begin by looking at your former ministry, tourism, and how it performed last year. Is there room for improvement?
Yes, this is one of the key growth sectors of the economy. At the moment, we've sustained the jobs that we created, 700,000 of those jobs, and we grew by about 2%, which is although below the global average, it still was a positive growth, remembering that our economy was not doing well. But growth, that minimal growth, helped us sustain our jobs. So tourism has been active. It's one of the active sectors because we are taking now to the people, to the communities in rural areas, taking it to townships. We're training young people to be ready. We're also creating a lot of awareness for young people to also participate.
Minister, how much of the tourism sector's performance or the underperformance compared to global averages, you put it, had to do with the visa requirements that South Africa tried to enact and then went back on?
Well, as you would remember, when the issue of immigration regulations came up, the country, came together. All subsectors came together because you get it from your side of your social sector, having issues of child trafficking and everything that the state had also to adhere to global legislation. But on the other side, looking into balancing in the economic side. So that impact, we felt it in the 2 previous years. But after the resolution of that program, it has not become the issue. Instead, as the whole world was undergoing the downturn in terms of economy, then it was everybody, because countries, South Africa is a long-haul destination. So people start traveling to nearby destinations than long-haul. So we were then affected, even when it comes to Africa itself.
Did you have to spend a lot of time trying to relay the different message to already existing markets, tourism market for South Africa, that some of the requirements have been rather put on ice?
Because it's not a blanket thing, the issue of the visas. It does not apply the same way in every country. For instance, China never had an issue with the visa issues. They only feared Ebola. That's why they could not travel in the year of Ebola. But when we had the issue of visas, they were not affected. The other countries are visa-free countries, so they don't get affected. So in those countries that were affected, yes, we had to.
Another thing that's been topical within the sector has been the situation that's currently unfolding in the Western Cape. The drought situation is not helping tourism numbers, as most tourists become very apprehensive as to even putting on an extra strain on an already strained water system. What are we telling tourists with regards to Cape Town?
We appreciate much more because the industry, the communities, government, all came together, because this is not just an issue of Cape Town, it's an issue of the whole world and issues of climate change. So we rallied together to ensure that our people can conserve water, there's awareness around it, there's understanding, and tourists, as they come, they also have to be responsible people, because the whole world also teaches that. So numbers in terms of occupants in Cape Town have not been grossly affected. There would be cancellations because some would have had, because it's meetings that were planned long time ago. But we really are appreciative in the fact that Cape Town, and the message was one in the whole country, that Cape Town is open for business, South Africa is open for business, as any traveler. Come enjoy, come respect, come be responsible.
Minister, one of the issues that keep recurring, is the importance that we should be placing on business tourism. that it yields far more in terms of revenue when you have multinationals coming to host their events here, therefore bringing an entire global personnel here. How are we doing in terms of business tourism and hosting of conferences as Meetings Africa is upon us now?
We're very excited because we are in our 13th year hosting what we call a signature event for South Africa, Meetings Africa. And if you look at it, more than 10% of the entire market share that goes into what tourism contributes comes from business tourism. So it has been growing. More associations in Africa are participating. 50 of them are participating today in Meetings Africa. All our meetings are ICA rated, so which means they have an international status, and it has been growing and growing. We also are spreading into Africa, so we have this one-stop shop for the entire Africa where the globe comes. So today we're hosting more than 3,000 participants in terms of this Meetings Africa show, and everybody's excited to say it is well organized. Corporate buyers, which is one thing that has not been there, has been the signature of this year. Everybody who is exhibiting has got set people who are coming to buy the product, not just people who are just walk-ins onto the stand. So it's exciting.
Minister, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Please feel free to pick whichever one. First, the impact of a strong rand on tourism in South Africa. Are there growth nodes, new growth nodes that tourism is looking at expanding into countries? And also, what's your expectations for 2018?
When it was weak, compared to your dollar or your euro, you could see a lot of people spending more time, but that in essence was not saying exactly that then South Africa there's much more money being left. So they would be getting cheaper rates and services. But what we are saying is that we continue to make sure that our rand firms, because it's not just about tourism, it's also about other economic sectors. So we want it to firm, and we want it to make sure that we continue to sell value for money and become the best service excellence destination. So we are continuing to be a long-haul destination, and that is what we are putting across to our travelers as a country.
Growth nodes, new growth nodes that we are targeting in terms of bringing visitors here?
Well, we have new markets that have been opened over the time, Middle East countries. We also have invested much more into your Americas because they continue to be our top source market. But we also are investing because the whole world is looking up at China. We are going to host the BRICS summit. All the BRICS countries will be coming down, but we also want to strengthen our Africa interconnections. And those are the kinds of points that we're looking at, because 70% of our tourists as they come to South Africa come from Africa. It has gone down last year. We want to strengthen on that.
What's your expectations for the market as a whole for South Africa in 2018? Do you expect a more robust performance considering where we are economically?
Where we are with the positive trends in economic growth, we really are looking at upping the numbers, and it is possible. We have new products. In the business events here, we have what we call hidden gems, which is new and unique products that are then plugged into those that travelers have been coming. So we want to keep them more here and want them to spend more money, and our people are getting the skills to market themselves. We have interventions to fund them. We also giving them market access.
Minister, you're the spokesperson of the African National Congress Women's League. How do you personally feel about the representation of women in the tourism sector?
Well, in the tourism sector in general, the majority are women. But what is a concern is where they are in terms of the ladder. That is why we had to make interventions on executive development program, because we had to conduct a study to understand exactly where they are and also interact with the industry. We are excited. We have an executive development program that is in its second round, and it is doubling up the numbers. And the outcome of the previous round is that out of 20 that were the initial pioneers, 6 of them are managers as we speak. We doubled those numbers. They have started this year. We are excited. The industry is coming up, is committing to make sure that they open opportunities for them to be managers. It is in line with our strategy of what we call 30 in 5, where we are looking into representation of women in boards, in management positions, in decision-making structures. So it is up there. We have a lot of women, which is majority of women, in all our skills development programs across the board, which are the skills that are required in the industry. I'm excited because our women are up there.